has a fundamental obligation to ensure, not just through publicity, but by law, creating an environment where tourists are welcomed and not intimidated, avoiding senseless harassment by petty officials, and ensuring demanding international standard in medical and communication services are continuously observed. Tourism is a major contributor to this country's GDP, and although unfairly affecting sentiment, it has to be said that perception frequently outweighs reality. A tourist family stranded at a crowded airport with poor air conditioning, waiting for hours on end for a delayed flight, may frequently forget the wonderful delights so recently experienced when forced to endure an environment with unappealing shops and restaurants, no areas to amuse children, and unhelpful officials. Airports have to be clean, quick, and efficient. It is the initial impact and the final recollection which continuously remains with the chattering classes. It's not good enough just to be okay. You must constantly be comparing yourself to the best. Now let's look at the position from the developer's perspective. It goes without saying that we have all seen the opportunity of a previously untapped, underdeveloped location on Europe's doorstep, with millions of people anxious to get away from the northern climes of wind, rain, and snow. And as I have previously commented, it's not that far to travel. Once here, there's a great deal of land with some excellent craftsmen working in wood, glass, metal, etc. The Royal Mansour is a magnificent exhibition of this incredible artistry. But sadly, that's only the beginning. Buying land, obtaining planning consents, securing finance can turn these dreams into nightmare. In my experience, the biggest defect from an overseas developer's perspective is the lack of certainty. Rules change. Parcels of land previously notified as undevelopable, some years later, miraculously, are overrun with plant and equipment. Getting the piece of paper confirming a good, clean title, so vital to securing finance, can frequently become a horrendous, time-consuming, and costly experience, which should really be a simple process and not a contentious issue. Politeness suggests that foreigners wishing to do business in this country should make a concerted effort at least to be able to communicate in French. The quid pro quo, however, must surely be that infuriating, time-wasting through overzealous bureaucrats is eliminated. Planning must be transparent and controlled. Overdevelopment, spurred by greedy authorities, can kill the golden goose. Indeed, as we have already seen, an excessive supply of villas coming onto a saturated market might well take years to correct. Architectural design has to be innovative to meet global challenges. And careful thought has to be paid to environmental issues to permit sustainability. I question, is there really enough water for another 10,000 houses and yet another dozen golf courses? Like certain other developing countries, Morocco also faces problems associated with poverty and corruption. Fortunately, it's not so blatant as I have witnessed in other parts of the world, but it is endemic and has to be addressed. The rule of law has not only to be enshrined, it has to be seen as operating fairly and even-handedly. Documents must not only be covered with a plethora of stamps and signatures, but they must be reliable and enforceable. Not all of this will happen overnight, but glaring examples of inconsistency must be eradicated. The other huge issue we are now facing is the recent phenomena of the Arab uprising. Maybe I am being overly optimistic, but I have always found Morocco a delightful, liberal country with a long tradition of religious tolerance. Moreover, geography suggests that where you are here now, further west than France, and literally thousands of miles from the Gulf, this is not the cauldron of revolution swirling between Syria, Egypt, Libya, Bahrain, Yemen, etc. Nor do I believe this is a hotbed of fanaticism, provoked by a tiny minority of vastly wealthy individuals playing lip service to democracy while subjugating an impoverished minority. I believe your king is widely revered, and although there will no doubt be demonstrations from time to time, which sadly affect sentiment both of bankers and tourists, I would contend that the powers that be here in Morocco are smart enough to recognize that by taking measured steps to give the people the opportunity to improve their way of life, this is the surest path to creating a stable society. I fully recognize the anxiety felt by many Western observers, unnerved at the prospect of Islam playing a larger role in government in the Arab world. But I would tend to look at Turkey, Malaysia, and Indonesia, where Islam and a form of democracy are cohabiting fairly comfortably. Morocco is still, to my mind, a land of opportunity, but nobody can deny there are serious dangers, some of which I have briefly outlined. Whereas it is difficult to protect oneself from events occurring outside the country, there are some fundamental issues internally which need to be addressed urgently in order to encourage developers to come and invest in this country and be willing to accept the normal risks associated with commercial speculative development. Clearly, these added risks come with a price tag. On a personal note, much as I am advocating vital improvements in areas of the law, planning, and bureaucracy, I sincerely and desperately hope that Marrakesh will not lose all its elegant charm and individualistic style and become yet another anonymous international resort. Thank you.